Okay, can I just say that everything I'm finding out about Beyoncé and Jay-Z in the last couple of days has been against my will? What do you mean Beyoncé was allegedly caught living with her bodyguard? Is she like moving forward with the divorce already? And why are we also finding out just recently about a relationship Jay-Z had with his mentor Jaz-O? And they are about to throw Jay-Z under the bus with these divorce rumors, y'all, because it looks like BA's PR team is putting it out there that Tina Knowles is the one who forced Beyoncé to get married to Jay-Z baby. Y'all may need to collect your jaws, your edges, and everything else because this one is messy as hell. So to start us off, let's get into how Mama Bear, Tina Knowles allegedly forced Beyoncé to marry Jay-Z. Well, there's a recent blind that has been making rounds claiming that the only reason Beyoncé got married to Jay-Z was because she was forced to do so by Tina. Whatever's in this blind is not necessarily new because it's all stuff we have seen before, but it says this globally adored pop star is widely seen as one of the most powerful and influential women in the world. Her marriage to a rap mogul has been long praised as the pinnacle of black love and empire building. But behind closed doors, it's anything but a fairy tale. What most people don't know is that the superstar never truly wanted this relationship to begin with. In fact, the marriage, and even the relationship itself, was something she was pushed into. By none other than her mother, the superstar was barely 19 years old when the rapper, then in his early 30s, took a keen interest in her. At the time, she was still finding her voice, still figuring out her identity, and unsure about getting involved, with a man nearly 13 years her senior. The blind item then continues and adds insiders say the superstar was hesitant from the beginning. She knew about his reputation, the women, the questionable past, and the power imbalance, and voiced her discomfort to her mother. But instead of supporting her, her mother quickly shut her down. Her mother, who had long been managing her career, saw the relationship as a strategic business move. She allegedly told her daughter that being with the mogul would solidify her career and put her on another level, essentially making her untouchable in the industry. The mother was focused on creating an empire and believed aligning her daughter with a rap mogul would do just that, even when the superstar admitted she wasn't sure she even liked him like that. Her mother dissed her. And so despite her hesitation, the young singer went along with it. But what she didn't know at the time was just how dark her future husband's past was and how it would come back to haunt her. Well, I know it's probably just speculation at this point, but would you be surprised if Tina actually forced Beyoncé to get married to Jay-Z? What I'm personally more curious about is why this is coming up. Now, well, I've seen people suggesting that this is a move by Beyoncé's team as she prepares to finally divorce Jay-Z, so they're just bringing this narrative of Mama Tina up to make it look like Beyoncé never had a choice. But reportedly, after years of persevering, Beyoncé is just done. Done. Again, we've talked about how Bey and Jay's marriage has been rocky for years now, a couple of times, so the divorce would also not be surprising. In fact, there have been reports claiming that Jay-Z and Beyoncé have been living separately for a while now, and the rift probably happened sometime before 2014. There were even reports that after several cheating escapades, Beyoncé set strict rules for Jay-Z, and an insider said Jay's ultimately very grateful that she didn't give up on him back in the day, so he shows his respect by following her rules. He used to go out with the boys all the time, but that's off limits, and Beyoncé doesn't like him having one-on-ones with his female talent. Well, it looks like nothing appears to be working, and Beyoncé has decided she might as well just live her life in peace, which brings us to this next allegation. The person keeping her sheets warm is none other than her very handsome bodyguard, Julius DeBoer. Now, y'all all have definitely seen him standing, looking, observing, and protecting Beyoncé since like 2008, whether it's an award show or a chill public appearance. Julius is always there. In fact, he's become such a huge part of Beyoncé and Jay-Z's life over the years that he's developed his own mini fan base in terms of his personal life. It's been reported that he speaks 5 languages, is divorced, and has a daughter. Well, Julius has also made headlines a few times in the past for allegedly being romantically involved. With Beyoncé, for instance, there's a blind that said, "It's about time she got back at her husband. This A-plus list singer is hooking up with her bodyguard, apparently. The husband is afraid of the guy." Which probably helps, and this is just one of the many blinds that have suggested over the years that there's something romantic going on between the two. Some people have actually said that they believe Beyoncé and Julius have been involved in the past only because of the pictures where he was coming out of the hotel behind Beyoncé with lipstick on his lips, well, allegedly a few years back. Jay-Z definitely thought that there was, and may still be, something romantic going on between BA and Julius, and an insider said that he wanted to fire Julius. But Beyoncé said Julius isn't going anywhere, so based on reports they've become so close in the last couple of months, which is why Julius broke character and visibly celebrated Beyoncé's win at the Grammys in the footage of the moment that Beyoncé's Cowboy Carter was announced as the Recording Academy's Album of the Year. Julius immediately hops up from his perch behind BA and Jay's table as he prepares to follow her up the stage, and fans spotted a smile on his face. I mean, it's possible that he was just genuinely happy for his boss, but to some people this proved that he's becoming a little too comfortable. Even in public, there have actually been a couple of more speculations about Beyoncé and Julius, with some sources reporting that Bey and her bodyguard are going to ride off into the sunset, and you won't see her more than once a year or so out in the wild. In fact, if word on the street is anything to go by, allegedly they have been spending days continuously together, and it's no longer just random hookup here and there, child. I don't know what to think of all these bodyguard rumors, but I'll tell you this. It's not the only Carter's tea-making round. Apparently people are just finding out recently that Jay-Z and his mentor Jazzo may have had a physically intimate relationship. Honey, let me just give you a bit of background first. So Jay-Z and Jazzo met as kids in Marcy projects and quickly bonded over their love of rhyming, in fact, while speaking about the connection Jay wrote in his 2010 book, Decoded. I connected with an older kid who had a reputation as the best rapper in Marcy Jazz was his name, and we started practicing our rhymes into heavy tape recorder with a makeshift mic attached, apparently. They would freestyle and battle for hours together, pushing the limits of one another's vocabularies and backing each other up in local battles on the block jazz. Got the first big break of the two, securing a solo deal with Emmy, which released his debut Word to the Jazz in 1989. He actually kept Jay by his side as a hype man and partner in rhyme throughout his deal, putting him on his early singles like Hawaiian Sophie and The Originators, based on reports as part of his Emmy deal. Jazz went on a trip to London to record his new album, and Jay made the trip along with a young VGTI, narrowly avoiding a federal raid back in the US, which he said would have prematurely ended his rap dreams, without a reasonable doubt. Well, unfortunately, Jazz's deal did not work out, but Jay used the experience as a lesson about how ruthless the industry is to artists. Eventually, Jay-Z got his break as well, but somewhere down the line, Jazz and Jay had a nasty beef and fell out. Then Jay's historic beef with Nas poured gasoline on the flames that were already flaring when Nas mentioned Jazz multiple times in his rap. Battle with Jay accusing Jay-Z of biting Jazz's name and style and mocking his Hawaiian Sophie days as Jazz's sidekick. What followed after that was years of digs and disses that Jazz admitted really hurt his feelings.
It was hard. It was difficult listening to that because it felt like it was him, obviously, but it felt like a stranger. And one more thing that I feel is important is that I understood his position to a point. Not saying I agree with it, but I understood his position because he's got this. Everybody, all the time. Before the status that, we see now, he had that all the time because the main thing was even into the late 90s, it was still Jazz and Jay-Z.
But in April 2019, Jazz announced a distribution deal under Hove's Rock Nation label, seemingly confirming that they had squashed their beef. The deal gave Jazz's Kings County Media Group equity distribution through the Rock Nation imprint, and that put a happy ending to their journey. But here's where it gets interesting. Allegedly, the beef that was going on had something to do with a romantic fallout between the two. I know this may seem like news to a lot of people, but apparently people who were around in the 90s know about the rumors, and a few have actually confirmed that there were speculations that the two were physically intimate. Well, Jay-Z has done a pretty good job as always to remove such speculations and blogs about their rumored relationship from the internet. But the allegations resurfaced again recently when reports started making rounds saying that a reporter almost died because they asked Jay-Z about the rumored relationship. Now we've also had stories about how Jay-Z has always been on the DL, So, again, this may not be surprising to a lot of people. In fact, nothing surprises us about the card is anymore. Tina. Forcing Beyoncé to marry Jay-Z. Beyoncé possibly now living with Julius. Beyoncé's PR coming up with stories that will justify her imminent divorce is honestly all believable, but you let me know what you think in the comments section below.